All right, so ghost story part 2. So where did I leave off? So this ghostly figure is standing next to my bed that just hovered into the room that I'm in while I was trying to sleep, and the door never opened. So how did it get inside? I have no idea, but it was standing right next to my side of the bed smiling at me. So it stood there for a second and looked at me, and then it took a few steps or floated across the room into the opening for the dining room and the kitchen area and disappeared. And as soon as it disappeared, the fear that was paralyzing me, all of a sudden I could move and I could scream. So my dad was in the bedroom of the house in the cabin, and I screamed for him and I was like, "Dad, there's somebody in the house. Hurry, come here, quick." And he grabs his gun and he comes out and he's like, "Where is he? What's going on?" And he's looking everywhere. Now, mind you, this is a one-room cabin. It had a long, big living room. It had a kitchen. It had a bathroom and one bedroom. That's it. That was the entire cabin. It was built by hand out of logs. So long story short, that was my first encounter. He disappeared into thin air. The next day we had to go move some cows around on the ranch, and Randy, my dad's friend that the ghost looked like to me, was there, and he said, "Tell Randy what happened." And I was like, he's gonna think I'm fucking nuts. There's no way I'm gonna tell him that I think I saw a ghost. And I'll just tell him. He's not gonna think you're crazy. So I told him what happened. I said, "Look, I was sound asleep. All of a sudden I was startled awake, and it looked like you at the front door and trying to get in the middle of the night. And I don't know what it was, but this person, this ghost, whatever it was, stood there next to my side of the bed, stared at me, smiled at me, and then disappeared into thin air." And so Randy kind of laughed at me and he said, "Honey, if that's my dad's ghost, he wouldn't hurt you. He was a little bit of a notorious ladies' man back in his day, and he loved the cabin. He built it by hand, and that was his little getaway spot. And I'm sure he's around all the time, but he'd never hurt you. He's just checking things out." He said he might have wanted to check you out in your panties. So I think I slugged him and called him a few choice words and said, "That's not funny. And I don't necessarily want to be able to see ghosts." So that was my first encounter with a full-bodied apparition. Every time I would go home and visit my dad at the cabin while he lived there, I think probably 15 years, we always had strange things happen. So another time I was there with my ex-husband and my 2 oldest sons, and we were putting some wood in the wood-burning fireplace, and there was some horse tack up on the wall. Nobody had touched anything, nobody bumped anything, and the piece of horse tack was on like a nail or a hook, and it flew down and started swinging back and forth right in front of me. And I said, "Please tell me everybody else in the room sees this. It's not just me and I'm not crazy." Go to part 3 for the rest of the story.